Hey friends, I was just painting my Devastators here, and I kind of had a thought in my head, and I wanted just to share something real quick. Um, if you're struggling with highlighting and you don't really understand, you're having a hard time just getting success, and more importantly, if your highlighting just always seems to look too strong, too edgy, what you're probably missing is that uh, the key to highlighting is what you don't paint is just as important as what you do paint. And what I mean by that is when I was in college learning how to draw, my professor came up to me and he looked at my work and he just said exactly that. He's like, Chris, the secret here is what you don't draw is just as important as what you do draw. So what you need to figure out is what not to draw in your drawing. So I started thinking about that, and I figured out that it's all about line and breaking up your line. So there's variety in line. So making your lines thicker or thinner can create the illusion of depth. When you're doing edge highlighting on things like this, that definitely helps. You don't want the absolute final edge highlight to be a super thick highlight. You want just a touch, a little thin one. The thicker, darker highlights behind that will push that thinner, lighter highlight towards the viewer in space. It'll make it look more 3D. So that's the concept. But in addition to that, you get the same effect or accentuate that effect by creating breaks in your line. And on my Devastator here, I've kind of done that. Above the skull, the side assembly of the main housing of the las cannon, you can see a line of highlight. And when you look at this, on one edge and on the other, there's a break in the line. The final highlight gets heavy and dark here, a little too heavy. I kind of ham-handed that last highlight. I might go back in and break that down a bit. But it gets thinner down to the base highlight, then lighter back up here to the front. And that is what I'm talking about, where you want to break up the highlight. If you just use the successive layers of highlight and edge every single edge of your miniature, it reduces the effect of the highlight. Look across that top line. You see how that one kind of breaks up a bit? Down here too. I didn't even highlight with the final highlight most of those lines. I hit it with the edge. Here, you can see a break up there in the center. So that's the concept. Break up your highlighting and don't hit every single edge. Spread them around. Leave some unhighlighted edges. Those unhighlighted edges will push the edges with the highlight forward into space. Here's one of my highlighted blood angels, where you can see I do that with the orange highlight, which is the final one on the edges. Now, I am a thick painter. I use thick paint when I paint. It's just the way I do it. I've been trying over the years to thin my paints as I go, but it's just my style. You might see layers, areas, like right there on that armor plate. I kind of had too much paint on my brush, but I'm just gonna leave that. It's just, that's how I do. That's how I roll. When I put my final varnish on and it sets in, that is what really kind of brings out the transition. I think I have another one that's got some highlights. No, here's just the red highlights, no orange. show you the difference between the two here. Orange highlights and just red highlights. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this little short, well, 5 minutes, a little longer than I was hoping, but I can't help myself. More to come.